talk about success and what it means to different people. I'm your host, Alanah, and today we have a special guest, and she is a musician and artist, singer-songwriter, and my girlfriend, Daisy Guttridge.
Hi, Daisy. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So today's episode is just kind of a recap of everything that I talked about with the other guests, and you were here for one of them. You've watched one of them. And then I'm kind of just going to bring up some topics and stuff, and we can go back and forth and see our thoughts.
Yeah.
So I thought we could start with the different episodes. You watched Morgan's episode. You were here for Allie's episode. And then I've told you a little bit about the other two. So we'll start with Morgan's. And we watched it together. Yeah. She talked a lot about working with others and how success meant happiness to her. She also talked about knowing when she was the most productive so that she could be successful and thrive in those times. So what are your thoughts on her episode and like some of her thoughts when we watched it?
Yeah, I think the collaborative effort of like being successful, like that was super prevalent in like what she said. And just some of the points that she made.
What about when you're working like on a song? Do you think it's helpful? Like, do you write by yourself or do you like working with other people?
I love working with other people. And in the beginning, I would always just want to work by myself. Not even wanted to, I just didn't have anyone else to work with. Like when I was in England, it started just by myself. And it's super difficult because you don't have anyone to bounce ideas off. It's like very kind of like isolated. So yeah. I love working in a group and just having that dynamic because I think the more people involved that you can have, you shouldn't be too like precious with that. Like thinking I just want to do it by myself, because I find I always get a better song or just a better product at the end of it the more people I do involve.
Okay, actually, do you feel like having too many hands though can get a little messy where you're not able to like come to an agreement and actually finish a product? Do you think there's like a max on how many people you can work with?
Yeah, I mean, I think usually I work with like 1 or 2 people max.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in like situations like where we have like writing camps, and in theory it sounds so good, like put 20 people in a room, like the best producers, everything, and then you're gonna get all these great songs, but really like you end up just getting lunch together and having no songs, and no one can really agree on anything. So yeah, I think there's definitely a limit to the amount of people you should involve.
And so in Morgan's episode, we did talk a lot about happiness, and later on in like I think Cammie's episode and Allie's episode, I talked about how I kind of realized that I don't think happiness is like what success is. What do you think about that? Like, what is your definition of success? What does it mean to you?
I think for me it's hard because I think as you progress up the ladder and you get more successful, your standards for what success means change. And it's like this like never-ending ascension. So it's like it's hard to even define it when I feel like every day it changes. It becomes like farther out of reach, but you get closer to it as well. Yeah,
we were talking about how like you have one goal and then you reach it, and by the time you even get to that, you're like on to the next. So you don't even feel successful because you kind of like skip over it almost.
Yeah, I think it's important to take a pause when you're doing stuff and just kind of be present in the thing you've just achieved. Because I think, I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure you are too. Like, as soon as you achieve the thing you were trying to do, like months before, you were like, okay, I'm going to do this. As soon as you do it, you're like, okay, next, like the next thing. And you never actually like feel the success. You're just always like looking for the next thing.
Yeah, that was something we talked about with Cammie's episode as well. But I'll go into Allie's episode next, which she talked a lot about wanting to have control of every aspect of her business or success or whatever she's doing. She wants to have full control of it. And I found that like with almost every single guest, even though they said, oh yeah, it is important to delegate like tasks that you're not really good at with other people, they also had a problem doing that. Like, how do you feel like with your songwriting? Do you ever, I don't know, delegate certain things to other people, or do you feel like you want full control of things as well?
I feel like I do like to have full control. I think just because if I'm doing it, I know I'm going to be doing it to 100%. But I think also by doing that, like, you should trust the people that are like the best in their field to help you, versus just being like, I'm going to try and do everything, but maybe, I'm only 50% like good at these things, and that person's invested their whole time and energy into doing that. I should let them take the load off that. Yeah. Almost like when I'm working in the beginning when I was doing music, I was trying to produce as well as write songs, and I'm like,
oh my God,
I've put all my time and effort and energy into learning how to sing and how to write songs, and just a little bit into the production.
Yeah.
So why am I trying to be, I'm never going to be as good as someone that on the reverse has put all that time into doing that aspect of it. So just not being too like serious with like doing it all yourself.
Yeah. What do you think? Jade and I talked about like her family life and how that has kind of shaped and formed how she approaches success and her ability to be resilient and like bounce back from like the lows. What are your thoughts on that? Like where did you come from? Like, what is your family like, and how has that shaped your approach to being successful?
I had super supportive parents just with everything I wanted to do. Like in the beginning when I was like 15, like going to shows, like they'd drive me like to the middle of nowhere and come and drive my friends and support me.
Mm-hmm.
Up until like when I was 18 years old and I got the opportunity to move here, me just telling my parents, hey, like I have this opportunity, I'm gonna just go move to the other side of the world by myself, like hope that's okay. And obviously they had like a few like concerns, but they were super supportive and like they didn't want to get in the way.
So like having that support has been really helpful too.
Super helpful, yeah. And I think it makes you just feel more confident to take risks because, you know, like you've got the support of the loved ones around you. And
I noticed that from all the different people that I talked to. Obviously, you know, everyone has a different story, but I noticed that with the people I talked to, everyone did have support. Like whether that's like with their family or their friends, like everyone had a good, strong support system. And I think that helps you develop and grow.
Yeah. I don't think that defines you though. I think you can still do it without a support system. It's just a lot harder, and more props to you if you can. Just because it's even more scary then.
But I think it's important to find like, you know, somebody that is there for you, even if it's just to talk or like to bounce ideas off of or whatever it is. Like I think it is important to find that.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to, you know, look like family. That can just be friends, fellow creatives, just people that are also striving for something greater. Yeah.
That's something we've talked about actually, like being in an environment where like you're around other people that are kind of wanting the same thing. We've just randomly discussed that before.
Yeah, I think just like surrounding yourself with people that are also like trying to do great things.
Yeah,
and just
I think that's something I love about being in LA, like having other people that just want the same thing. You know what's funny? I've told you this before, but
I'll pretend I haven't heard it.
Okay, great. Okay. I think it's amazing that everybody is somebody here. And I know people from the outside of LA, like look at LA and they're like, oh, everybody wants to be somebody. Why wouldn't you want to be around people that are like striving for greatness and like that want to be somebody and that like, I don't know, it just motivates me to be around people that are also motivated for the same thing.
Yeah, I think just a lot of brave people here. Just people going after like what they want and their truth. Doesn't matter like how they're doing it, they're striving for it. And like a lot of people wouldn't have the confidence to do that. And I think this is a place, you know, obviously fake it till you make it as well, but you're just around people that have that mentality just to like, okay, I'm gonna go after this thing. I don't care like how I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna just do it.
And kind of separate from like success, even like how people dress here, like you can literally wear whatever you want and go out on the street and like you're not going to be really judged. Like, yeah, maybe you're going to get a few looks, but you could wear that same outfit like somewhere else, like I don't know where else, and you're going to get a lot more judged for it. Whereas here, I feel like you never get, like, you're not even judged because everyone's just focused on their own thing.
Massive. When I've been like on tour, like we've gone on a tour bus to like pretty much every state, and as soon as you go to some states, at the time I had like bright purple hair. I was on tour with Hippie Sabotage, and like everyone's just in tie-dye and looks crazy. Here we look normal. We just blend in at like a Starbucks, like, oh, like you're in LA. But like when you're in like some places, everyone's like, what who are these people? And it makes you feel a little bit
out of place.
Even when there's a group of you. So I can imagine, like even going back home to England, like I find the times I've gone home after like spending periods of time here, like the fashion is very different, and just like feeling like in the environment, if you feel comfortable wearing a certain thing.
And it's like the same thing with like whatever you're doing. So like take it back to like YouTube. Like obviously I'm from California, so it's like, and you're from like a big city too. So it's kind of different. But even there, like, I feel more confident saying like what I do here than if I'm back in my hometown where like everyone kind of has like a regular job. Not to say it's bad, but it's just like the environment is different.
Yeah, the status quo here is like different to up there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump a little bit back to Cammie's episode. Okay. We talked a little bit about manifesting in Cammie's episode, and I was wondering, what's your relationship with manifestation?
Yeah, no, I think it's important. I think that can look like manifestation or like meditation. Just it can take different forms, but I think just having a strong belief like in that mental like system is super important. So if you don't believe you can do something, why would anyone else? You know, it starts from you and yourself. And I think the more that you can hear that and ingrain that, like it's proven, like the more you tell yourself something in your head, the more you can actually believe that and physically like live that.
And you've said to me before that you were at a place once where you didn't really have, like, you knew you were a good singer, you could do it, but you felt like all around you didn't 100%, like you weren't 100% satisfied with where you were at. So how was anyone else supposed to believe in you?
Yeah.
And you recently, like in the last like couple years, have made that like change to like really believe in yourself, right?
Yeah, I think with the help of like people around me, like some of my producers, just kind of them seeing like my potential more so than I could see it, and then just like trusting them, believing in them, and living in that, and just seeing this like shift of people now perceiving me and viewing me in a different way.
Yeah.
When nothing's really changed, but it's just like my mentality's changed, and that's contagious.
I think same for me, like with manifestation. Like I never really had anything to believe in, like as far as like religion goes, and then one day, like probably a few years ago, I started like seeing like manifestation coming up, and like just like believing yourself, like kind of like doing that prayer every day, like hoping that you'll get whatever you want and like whatever you're striving towards. And then finally one day I just like took the leap to make that happen. And I think it was because I started telling myself that this could happen, like that it could be a reality, and kind of like putting myself in the shoes of like the person that I wanted to be.
Yeah, and it sounds silly, like if you've never done that before, like if you said to someone, oh, just like tell yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
but if you tell yourself every day that you're ugly, or if you tell yourself every day you're successful, like you're going to believe whatever it is that you're saying.
There was a study, I don't know if you ever saw it. I think it was in Singapore. It was somewhere. And they set up this experiment in a museum, and they had 2 plants. And one of the plants had a sign saying, say negative things to me.
Oh, yeah.
And the other plant had a sign saying, say positive things to me. Mm-hmm. And over the course of a couple of weeks, the negative plant started dying.
Yeah.
And the positive plant started growing.
I've heard that about plants, and I've also heard about like if you put rice, like, or something like that. Like one would start molding and one doesn't mold as long. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't, but this one definitely like, I mean, I'll have to like look it up, but that, the kind of, the message of that was basically saying like, what you say matters.
Yeah. Yeah. That brings me to, where was it? I wrote some things down. 1 second. Okay. So from a YouTube video from Mind Valley Talks, and the name of the video is As Your Body Moves, Your Brain Grooves, by Jim, I'm not going to say his last name, Kwik. I don't know how to say that. He said, your behavior is belief driven. So it's whatever you believe, you will achieve, you will do. So what are your thoughts on that? Because that's kind of what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I think I also like the saying like objects at rest stay at rest. So if you're just sitting there doing nothing, you know, you gotta be the change, like with what you want to do, even when you don't know where it's gonna end up. Just kind of like putting one foot in front of the other and having just a good mindset.
Even those small like steps will get you closer to whatever it is that you're striving for.
THRIVECAST.
Yeah. Okay, so I did some research. It says that there are 9 habits highly successful people from a man who spent 5 years studying them. And this is a article from cnbc.com. Okay. So here are the 9 things. Tell me your thoughts as we go through them. The first one is they get up early.
Okay. We should also say if we do them.
Okay. Do you get up early?
For the most part, I think I do. I also think you get up early.
You think I do? You think I do?
Not as early as me, but early in the day part of the day.
Okay.
Like in the morning.
I do get up in the morning. Yeah. Recently, I've been getting up kind of earlier than you for some reason.
Yeah.
But I have a thing about that, though.
Because
I feel like there are people that are just more creative and better at night, and so they stay up longer, and they're still working or doing whatever they're doing, and they're still able to thrive. I don't think getting up early is what it is. I think it's like, when you get up, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think for sure that's like a super subjective thing. Like when people work better at different times of the day.
Yeah.
Like some of my producers will just like to do sessions starting at like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And I personally hate that. Like I like getting up early, like doing a workout, just like doing something to get my body moving, and then doing a session. Like some of my best sessions, they start at like 10 a.m. till like 3. And I feel like for me, that's where it is. But yeah, if you are someone that works better at night, that you still have the same amount of time you can dedicate to something.
Yeah.
So,
is this a matter of like what you do when you get up?
Yeah.
Like, are you being lazy is basically what it is, like when you get up. Because I'm not really a morning person, but I'm also not a night person.
You're a middle of the day person.
I'm a middle of the day person. Yeah. But if I'm going to work out, I want it to be in the morning because I can't do it at night. But, okay, so the next one is they read a lot. Your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I mean, I have a lot of books. Do I read
Do
a
you
lot?
read them?
No. But I do think just having that time maybe of relaxation, or like time when you're not on your phone, time away just spent focusing on one thing, that aspect, which could be reading or something else like working out, I think it's important just to kind of give your brain like a reset.
Okay. I was thinking that they read because they're like learning, not because they want like a reset from like their phone.
Maybe learning too. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that could be true. Just depends on like who it is. I've been trying to read more.
Yeah.
But I'm still like
I've seen some books in your apartment.
Yeah,
I believe you.
I read, right? Okay, so they spend 15 to 30 minutes each day on focused thinking. Yeah?
Yeah, I could, yeah. Again, I feel like that could look like different, like, you know,
that could look different for different people.
Just like, I'm thinking. Like, I don't think they're doing that for 30 minutes.
Well,
yeah. But yeah, I think that's important, just again, like having.
But focused on like whatever that goal is, like.
Yeah. You like doing that as well, like in terms of like blocking out time for things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try. I'm really unorganized with that. I need to get more organized.
Yeah. You have the app. That's the first step.
I stopped using it.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I do block off times, and I'm getting better at it. It's just like a matter of time. I did talk with Cammie about, I don't know if you didn't see that episode, but I did talk with Cammie about like blocking off time and scheduling, and like how she organizes her tasks. We both use our phone and like kind of like the notes app. So yeah. The next one is they make exercise a priority. And I know that's something that's really important to you. What are your thoughts on that, and like how that relates to being successful in other parts of your life?
Yeah, I relate to that heavily. For me, like in the past like 2-3 years, like making that like a priority, like going for a run every day or just doing something every day, how that makes me feel like so much better, and that confidence like bleeds into every other part of my life. So I think I would highly recommend that. Just when you're moving afterwards, like chemically you're going to feel better, just like with the endorphins, and just feeling like you've put something on the board, you've done something.
Yeah.
I think
kind of like check something off your list.
Yeah, that just sets you up for a really good like domino effect.
And you said you only recently like got heavily into like working out, and have you seen like a huge improvement, like not just with like, your body, but like with your mind?
With my mind, how I was saying earlier, how other people perceive me.
Yeah.
It's like this contagious like energy, and I think, yeah, I'm like addicted to it in like the best way.
Okay,
it's really good.
Yeah. The next one that they have on here is they spend time with people who inspire them. That one's important to me. That's like what we were talking about, like being in an environment where I feel like good energy, and like I can look up to the people that I'm like hanging out with. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, what we said earlier, just surrounding yourself with people that have the same like core ideas and dreams as you.
Well, even if it's not the exact same thing, like I don't need to be around everybody that wants to do the exact same thing as me, but like obviously you're creative, and like you're like motivated to like work on your music, and like just have, and also we help each other with those things.
Yeah.
Like you give me ideas for videos or like creative ideas for that, and I'll like listen to all your songs and tell you my like feedback just as like a listener.
Yeah.
So even if it's not the exact same like career path or anything, but just people that are like
similar like
willing
mentality
to help.
as well. Yeah.
The next one they have is they pursue their goals. So that's kind of like a tricky one because I feel like anyone could say they're pursuing their goals, but what does that mean really?
Yeah, I think sometimes that's a tricky thing to fall into because you can think that you're, I bought a book, so I'm reading.
Yeah.
But you actually have to read the book.
Yeah.
So I think, people sometimes liking the idea of doing something, but you actually have to follow through and do it.
Yeah.
So as long as you do the follow through part, then yeah.
So it's like taking those steps. Like, what does it mean to actually pursue this goal?
Yeah.
The next one is they get enough sleep.
Again, I think that's super important. Like, I like to get like
that's a simple one, but it's so important.
Hours. Yeah, I think it's super like overlooked, but like that is when your body's just repairing and you can just get recharged to like go and do all the things you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And second to last one, they have multiple incomes, which I didn't realize, but is so important. I didn't realize until like the last couple of years when I started like working for myself. I was like, I need to have money coming from like all different places because if one goes down, like another place is like where it's going to pick up.
Yeah.
And I've talked to you about that like recently actually, where I was like saw a decline in one part of my income and like an increase in another. And so like it's important to stay
like, I think like diverse and like having like eventually like having assets. So it's like even if the things in your day-to-day life like maybe aren't performing well, the investments you have, like you can then lean on those if you need to as well.
Yeah. And I think, what do you think about not like just income wise, but having like a wide portfolio of like things you do as well?
Yeah, I think
to stay
it's
successful.
important that if you don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. I think also it's hard if you want to be really good at one thing. Obviously, you don't want to split your time so far.
Spread yourself too thin.
Yeah. So I think maybe once you feel like you reach your potential in one area, keep doing it, but then maybe you can look to other things.
Then you can start practicing like another skill or whatever it might be. True. Okay, and the last one that was on this list is they avoid time wasters.
Again, important. I think sometimes, again, like looking who you surround yourself with. Are you around people that, I think for me, I like to recognize, okay, like when I'm with people, like how do I feel? Like, do I feel good when I'm around these people or bad? Mm-hmm. And I think if you feel bad, then that's like a distraction.
Yeah.
And something maybe, it's hard to take note of, but just evaluating who you surround yourself with and if that's still a good decision for where you want to go.
I think it's also important, though, to have like a separate space for wasting time. Like you should have time to like unwind and like enjoy just like company with people. So like there's like a time and place for wasting time. Yeah. And then there's a time and place for like when you want to get shit done.
Yeah, I've seen something recently on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like this post and it says creative people need time to sit around and do nothing. And I think that's not just exclusive to creative people, but I think you just need time when you're not doing it. Just to, again, like a reset button.
What you just said leads me into the next thing I was going to bring up.
Okay.
So I was watching another YouTube video, and this was a TED Talk by Adam Grant, and it was called The Surprising Habits of Original Thinkers. And his main thing was that people that are creative, like the most creative people, actually procrastinate a lot. And the reason why is because, or the reason why they're actually creative and like why it actually works for them is because while they're procrastinating, in quotes, they're actually thinking about all the different ways they can be creative with whatever the task is. And how if you're just thrown into something and you don't procrastinate, you don't really have time to like make something perfect or like make something original and like spend time thinking about it. So that was his kind of like point. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a cool way of looking at it. Like almost like
a cool way to look at it.
Just like distracting your brain to trick it to be like, oh, we're not working, but we're working right now.
Yeah.
I think that's cool because people don't like the idea like sometimes of doing work like I don't. So it's, if you can be cool at something else, but you're really working towards the work, that's clever.
I hope this is true because I am procrastinating my video for this week.
Oh.
And I just don't know what to do. So I hope by tomorrow it just comes to me.
No, just keep procrastinating and tomorrow you open your laptop and you're like, oh, there's this new file. It just appeared. It's the video. It'll be there, I think.
but I'm supposed to post on Wednesday, so that's a day away. Yeah, so I'm hoping this is true, but I do think that when I am procrastinating, I am still thinking about whatever it is I'm trying to work on. I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes to me and it's really cool, and sometimes it doesn't. So I can see this being half true.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you procrastinate?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think I commit to the procrastination. I don't think I'm working.
You don't think you're working?
No. I think when I'm procrastinating, I'm like, yeah, I'm not thinking about I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, because when you go into work, you like go in and you're at the studio and you're like 100% focused on that. Like you're not really on your phone like texting or like doing other things. You're like 100% focused on that. So when you're like off, you're not really thinking about what you need to do on.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, for that, and then like obviously like when I'm on tour, it's like you're in this constant state of like work. But you're only...
So you don't really have time to procrastinate when you're actually working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's just like the job that it is.
Yeah, I think it maybe is like specific to that. Yeah.
Because you are a procrastinator in all other aspects of your life.
It's true. You know this.
Yeah. That's why I always tell you like half hour before we have to go somewhere.
Yeah,
I actually
you
give you the
me
time
by time.
before.
You're like, oh, we have to be there.
Yeah.
I'm ready. It's like we're there 2 days out.
Because you'll be like sitting on the couch just like on your phone, and I'm like, what? You want to put your shoes on?
I'm like, oh, I've got like half a sock on. I'm like,
yeah. Okay, so another TED Talk that I was listening to was called "The Secrets of Success in Eight Words." So we talked about the 9 habits of successful people, and now these are the 8 words. And this was another TED Talk. Did I already say that? It's called "The Secrets of Success in 8 Words." Richard St. Johnson did the TED Talk. Okay, so the words are, we'll just go one by one again. Passion.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Okay.
Important.
Easy. Work. So I guess that's like work hard. Focus. Persist. Ideas. Be good at something. Push, and then serve. So I'll like go into each one. Serve meant like basically what's your purpose? Like who are you serving? And kind of like use that.
Yeah.
As like a motivating thing. Push was probably like what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Push
like
yourself, drive, be good at something. And that's something that I talked about with like a few different people. Like, do you think you have to be good at something to be successful in it? Or do you like already good at it? Or do you think you can get good at something and then be successful in it?
I think you have to enjoy something to be successful at it sometimes. Or for quick success, maybe. I feel like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, that's a big roadblock. Like if you hate your job, then you're not going to be inspired to keep being successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Because I feel like before I got into what I do now, I feel like I was really successful at my job, working corporate. And, I was moving up the like corporate ladder really quickly. I was good at it. But I was so unmotivated because it just wasn't right for me.
Yeah, you were like miserable doing it. So it's like you didn't even
it didn't even matter that I was successful
because you're just like, I hate this.
Yeah. Okay, so then persist was like pushing through like those parts where you're not successful, but you're still trying. It's like persist, like continue even if you're not there yet. Yeah. What are your thoughts with that?
I think that's good. I think we were speaking about this a little bit this week about like the 40% rule or like the 40% theory. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at a car and it has all these things on it, has a limiter on it, so it can only go the speed that it thinks it can, but it really can go a lot faster if it wanted to, and it didn't have that like capability like on it. Mm-hmm. I think that's the same thing with people. I think like when you think you've reached like your max, a lot of times that's really only like 40% of where you could be. Yeah. And it's scary because it's like you think you're at the end, but like really when you push past it a bit more, you can unlock this whole other thing. So
do you feel like you've done that? Do you feel like you've been able to push past, or do you think you're still like holding yourself only to like a certain point?
Yeah, no, I think I have pushed past it in certain experiences I've had, like just with a bunch of things. And it takes being uncomfortable, I think. Yeah. And like I think you can maybe push yourself when you are comfortable. So I think that links back to that word.
I think I have like pushed past certain barriers of that, like my capability, but I think that there's constantly like new ones that I like close and then I have to push through them, and then I close them and I push through them. But I think I'm not like completely comfortable all the time, like pushing past certain barriers, and I have to like continue to learn how to do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think every day is like, you have to commit to that.
Yeah.
You know? It's not just do it once and it's done.
Yeah. What about ideas? Like, have a good idea. I thought these are simple words, but they're the words that they
Yeah,
described.
I mean, before I did music, I was doing graphic design, and the very first year of that was all about ideas and having good ideas, and just how important that is and is overlooked, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also, though, I don't know what I was listening to about this, but you can have a great idea. You can have a million great ideas, but if you're not doing anything with them, then
They're just sitting there.
They're just sitting there.
Yeah.
So I think it also has to do with like how comfortable you are like trying, because you might have a good idea, it might fail, but like at least trying.
Yeah.
Focus. So we were just talking about that kind of, where when you're in the studio, you're 100% focused. When you're on stage, you're 100% focused. What do you think for like other people? Because like for me, like I could be like 50% focused, but I'm still at home, so I want to like clean or cook or like do this and that. Focus is a hard one for me. What about with you?
I think because I'm in certain environments where it's like that's what I have to be doing, and my body knows like, okay, when I'm here I need to do this.
Yeah.
Like I already am like focused, but yeah, if I didn't have like a set, like in the middle of the pandemic when I wasn't in a studio, when my tour got cancelled, when I was just at home trying to find a routine and trying to find focus or a focus, it was like extremely difficult. So I think you have to just find ways to maybe discipline yourself to focus.
But I think that is an important one for success.
Yeah.
You have to find focus at some point. Passion and work hard. We kind of talked about those.
Yeah. I think another like good word to add into that would be like play or like playfulness.
Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah, because I think, again, like looking back to, if you're not having fun or experimenting with like ideas, then like that's a big like chunk of like success, I think.
And creativity.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to find new ways to like make things happen if you're not like having that play.
Yeah.
And that fun with it.
Play is like a good word to add to that.
That is a good one. We've already talked about this, but like your success is based on how far you believe that you can go, and how your behavior is all based on your beliefs. How do you think you can tell yourself, like say if you're just getting into like that manifestation or like getting yourself into that mindset of like being successful, how do you think you can like get over the hump of not believing in yourself?
I think you're not going to believe in yourself overnight. I think you do have to walk up to that. But I think as you slowly start taking like the little baby steps and you see small changes like happen, that will like kind of help just give you confidence in what you're doing and give you confidence in yourself.
Yeah. So circling back around, because I normally asked every single guest before the episode, but I'm asking you after the conversation for a reason. How do you measure your success?
I think, like I said earlier, it's kind of hard to measure success because your boundaries of what you think is success change and like increase. I think I like to measure my success by looking backwards and looking at the past and thinking, okay, like a year ago, the things I've achieved in that time, like I would be so happy with. So like looking back and like measuring it like that. Looking back at old videos of like when I was like performing and like seeing how I'm doing it now and just the growth. Even I can look at my success by listening to old songs. Songs are like
being like, oh no, I've come so far from this one.
Yeah, or just thinking at the time when I have songs I listened to from like a couple years ago, even like 6 months ago, like, and at the time I thought this is the best thing I've done, like this is so good. And then like now, like listening to the songs I'm doing now and looking back at that and comparing the two, it's like, wow, like I'm excited to see 6 months from now and look back at these songs and be like, these songs like are whack. Like, what are these new songs? You know what I mean? Like,
no, these ones are.
But like just being able to like look back and have like a gauge of like, is it good for me to measure the success? I think.
You also had a bomb ass song that came out, or like didn't come out, but you made in 2017. You said.
Yeah.
That one needs to come out. So sometimes it could be like you can look back at the things and be like, yeah, those were amazing, but still creating good stuff too.
Yeah, I think like just don't forget to look back. Like keep looking forward, but make sure you like look back every now and then to see how far you've come.
Do you celebrate those like wins when you like stop and look back? You're like, okay, yes, like I did.
I think
that.
I could like celebrate
them.
Celebrate them more. I'm trying to get better at just acknowledging them. Because I just get so excited for like the next thing. Like I'm sure like you and like everyone else. But I think I could celebrate them more.
Yeah. Okay, I think that like rounds up like the whole season. When I started this podcast, I wanted to do small kind of series where the first one was about success, and every series will be about thriving in different ways. So the first one, we wrapped up success, we talked about it, we discussed what it meant to different people, and what it can mean for anybody else watching.
Yeah.
But the next series is going to be all about relationships and how you can thrive in those. Obviously, we don't know all the answers, but we're just going to discuss it with different couples and kind of get their thoughts on it, what's helped them thrive in their relationships, how they think they can improve in their relationships, and our relationships as well.
Wait, are we in a relationship? Yeah.
Well, you be my girlfriend.
Yes. No, I think it'll be cool to talk couple to couple.
Yeah.
And see if we share any of similarities with them.
Well, not just that, but also like what can we learn from these other couples?
Yeah.
And bring into our own relationship. So we're excited for that.
Super excited. And on the topic of success, do you think season 1 has been successful?
It has been a great success, and I'm super happy that I got to conclude it with you.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you in season 2.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of THRIVECAST. Be sure to hit the red subscribe button and the bell so that you're notified every time we drop a new episode. And follow us on Instagram at THRIVECAST Podcast. I'll see you in the next one.